What if death walked into your life and fell in love with your daughter? What if you had days to live but couldn't tell anyone? What if the man stealing your daughter's heart wasn't even human? This is Meet Joe Black, a story where love, mortality, and impossible choices collide. And by the end, someone has to let go. This is Bill Parrish. He has everything: wealth, power, respect, a media empire built over decades. But just days before his 65th birthday, something changes. A voice follows him, calm, close, invisible. It asks questions no one wants answered. A chill runs down Bill's spine. For the first time in his life, he feels fear. Across town, his daughter Susan sits in a coffee shop. A charming stranger catches her eye. Their conversation flows easily, warm, natural, electric. It feels like fate. They part reluctantly, glancing back one last time. Neither knows what's coming. Distracted, the young man steps into the street. 2 cars hit him at once. He's dead before he hits the ground. Hours later, Bill sits at dinner with his family. The voice returns. "I'm waiting outside your front door."
I'm waiting outside the front door.
Bill sends a servant to check. She confirms someone is there. He instructs her to bring the visitor to the library. Inside, Bill asks the question he's been running from. Am I going to die?
Am I going to die?
A man steps forward, wearing a suit, calm, unflinching. He represents death. Bill brings him to the dining room. His family stares, confused. Bill hesitates, then speaks on instinct. Joe Black. Moments later, Susan enters. She freezes. It's him, the man from the coffee shop, now standing in her home. After dinner, Bill asks Joe how he met Susan. Joe answers calmly, he didn't. The young man whose body he took did. He only needed the body. The next day, Joe finds Susan by the pool. She studies him. His face is the same, but the warmth is gone. A stranger wearing a familiar smile. When Joe asks if she loves Drew, her colleague, Susan snaps. "It's none of your business."
Drew is none of your business.
Joe apologizes. He suggests they be friends. The next morning, Joe insists on joining Bill at work. Bill resists, then agrees. They strike a deal. Everything about Joe stays secret. At the office, Bill introduces Joe to the board. Drew, his ambitious son-in-law, pushes for a merger. Bill refuses. This company is not for sale.
This company is not for sale.
Drew bristles. Bill ends the meeting. Later, Joe visits Susan at the hospital where she works. An elderly woman is wheeled in. She locks eyes with Joe. Panic floods her face. She sees what no one else can. She begs him to end her suffering. Joe bends down, looks her in the eyes. Soon, that night, Bill rises to speak at a dinner party. Unease grips him. Words vanish. He postpones his speech. Susan and Joe talk quietly in the corner. Drew watches, uncomfortable. They're becoming too close. Later, Susan meets her father. Bill speaks gently. He wants to know the nature of her interest in Joe. Susan's voice mirrors his, like being struck by lightning. Bill responds quietly, almost a whisper. "I don't think it's the lightning you're chasing." The next day, Drew secretly gathers the board. He pushes them to reconsider the merger, even without Bill's approval. He points to Joe Black as the problem, too much control over Bill's decisions. When Bill's partner Quince arrives, Drew strengthens his case. Every word makes them more worried. Later, the family gathers for dinner. Warmth and laughter fill the room. Susan and Joe steal a quiet moment outside. Conversation deepens. Emotions rise. Their lips touch for the first time. Then Bill appears and breaks the moment. The next morning, Bill walks into the office. Shock hits. A board meeting scheduled without him. Furious, he masks his anger. Drew pushes the merger again. Bill cuts him off. The answer is no. Drew fires back. Dangerous. "And who is Joe Black?" Bill stays silent. The room holds its breath. Drew drops the bomb. Mandatory retirement for the chairman on his 65th birthday. The votes are cast. Yes wins. Motion passes. Bill isn't the only one affected. Joe feels it too. But before leaving, Joe stands, bold, calm. My true nature and my bond with Bill, you'll know in due time. Back home, Susan finds Joe by the pool. Their bond has grown. They kiss, slow, trembling, inevitable. Bill walks in and sees them together. Rage overwhelms him. He confronts Joe without thinking. Joe insists he needed no permission. Bill explodes. You walked into my life and gave me the worst news a man can get. Now you're taking my family, my business, and my daughter. He demands to know why Joe chose him. Joe answers evenly. I chose you for your energy, your excellence, your ability to guide. Later, Susan finds Bill in his office. His anger is raw. You don't truly know Joe. Susan's heart doesn't hesitate. She's in love. Bill's voice drops, heavy with warning. Joe is not good for you. Joe visits the hospital again, carrying a flower. He finds the elderly woman who first sensed him. She smiles.
You come for me? That's good news.
You've come for me. Good news. She notices the flower. Joe holds it out gently. He came for Susan. As she complains of constant pain, Joe snaps in frustration. You can't do right by people. When I come to take them, they want to stay. When I leave, they want to go. Later, Joe returns home. He finds Bill alone, lost in thought. I feel I've accomplished my purpose, Joe says. Bill listens, then nods. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Joe sets the time. Tomorrow, after the party. The party is for Bill's 65th birthday. The house hums with preparations, music, laughter. Joe sees Quint sitting alone, shoulders slumped. Guilt clings to him. Joe leans closer, voice low. Go to Bill. Tell him the truth. He'll forgive you. The party is in full swing. Susan glides toward Joe in a sparkling gown. She whispers that her father is leaving. Joe replies calmly. It's a choice between me and him. Our time ends tonight. Susan breaks. Tears streak her cheeks. I've fallen in love with a man I barely know. Where he's from, where he's going, when I'll see him again. Joe softens. I'll tell you when. In Bill's office, Quince confesses everything. He's ready to help. Bill points to unfinished business with Drew. Quince volunteers immediately. Joe asks Bill how he's holding up. Bill snaps bitterly. He's a man racing toward death. His empire wobbles. Worst of all, his daughter is in love with death itself. Joe delivers the blow. He loves Susan and is taking her tonight. Bill explodes. This isn't love. You take what pleases you. She fell for the body you borrowed, the stranger from the coffee shop. The rest, it all came after. The words strike Joe. He leaves to see Susan one last time. She recalls their first meeting. Through tears, she says she's ready. They kiss, deep and passionate. But Susan sees him already gone, somewhere else. Before Drew arrives, Bill prepares his final move. He calls the board to witness what's about to unfold. As Drew enters, Bill exposes him. Collusion with John Bontecu. Dismantling the company for personal gain. Drew shifts blame to Joe, calling him poison. Joe steps forward, calm and steady. You are the poison. Joe recounts Drew's lies. He points to Bill, a man of honor. The time for secrecy is over. Joe steps forward, calm and deliberate. I'm an agent of the IRS. The room goes silent. Bill breathes out slowly. Joe continues. Bontecu's merger broke tax laws. Your help made a secret investigation possible. Drew has one choice. Confess and resign. What do I get? He asks. You get not to go to jail, Bill says simply. Drew accepts. The board confirms Bill as chairman. The merger is officially rejected. Drew loses everything. During his speech, Bill finds Joe in a quiet corner. He ends simply, 65 years. Don't they go by in a blink? He embraces his wife Allison, then Susan. Relief washes over him knowing Susan will be okay. Together they whisper, no regrets, no regrets. Bill turns to Joe. Emotion overtakes them both. Joe wipes his eyes. As Susan runs forward to meet them, she stops in shock. It's not Joe standing there. It's the stranger from the coffee shop. The young man whose life was taken. Memories rush back. Their hearts race, stronger than ever. They join the celebration, ready to embrace life and love. The movie, Meet Joe Black, isn't about death. It's about what we do with the time we have. About love that defies logic. About letting go when holding on would destroy what matters most. If you enjoyed this recap, leave a like. It helps more than you think. Subscribe for more incredible movie recaps, and comment below. If death gave you a few more days, what would you do differently? Thanks for watching.